What's going on, backyard bassing fans? Tonight we are going over hooks, when to use them, why to use them, and where the beginners can start fishing. Alright guys, so tonight we are going to go over hooks, different hooks that I use for different applications and the reason why I'm using them. This is more of a beginner's guide to what hooks to use and where to use them at and why. So first off, we're going to go with just the most common hook out there. They sell these just about anywhere you go, but it's just the traditional worm hook. Show you guys that up close there. That is just a traditional worm hook. I'm going to throw this on anything on either like just trick worms or any kind of ribbon tail worms, stuff like that. I mean, that's what that hook is designed for. It works very well, and it's got a great hookup ratio too. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's actually offset a little bit there. So the hookup ratio on that's really good. Now the second hook, well, I've still got this one here I want to show you. So this is a 3-dot EWG hook here. You can see the difference here. Now, they're pretty much the same hook. They're used for the same baits most of the time. But here's where the difference is. When you're throwing any type of creature baits, this is just a regular havoc bait here. And let me show you. I'm going to put this bait in front of this hook of where this is going to be. Now, if you set this up just right, it's kind of hard and wiggly here. Do it the other hand here. Okay, so you can see right there, that's where it's going to be. If you look, there's not a whole lot of hook left there. Now, if this bait gets scrunched up at any time, like it's in a bass or gets caught up or anything, it's going to go over that hook and kind of make it a pain in the butt just to get a good hook set. So that's where that EWG hook comes into play here. Like I said, it's almost the same thing. It just, this is what you're going to use for your little bit bigger profile baits, like your beaver style, your crawl style, stuff like that. And let me hook this in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about here so you know exactly what I mean here. So you can run through there, bring it down, twist it, pull it up. Now, and a lot of beaver style baits and stuff like that, a lot of them have that little indention right there in the center, and I'll show you the reason for that. It works out really, really well too. So you can see right there, you can't see that hook out there, so you stay pretty weedless, you don't get hung up a lot, but look how much space is back here. So when that fish comes in and it gets bit, that bait has plenty of room to go down into that hook, and you've got plenty of hook there to get a good hook set. And like I said, when you do it like that, they stay weedless too. So that's the first two hooks right there. That's going to be your two basic hooks, probably for just about any beginner out there. You're going to look at either a worm hook, like this one here. This is a, I think this is actually a 4-aught worm hook. And then this is a 3-aught EWG hook. And they sell them all over the place. They're not hard to find or nothing like that. So don't be going hog wild and think you got to go, buy them offline or something like that or anything. You can go to a local Walmart or anything like that and get them. They're pretty common. So, all right. So staying on that tradition there of the beaver style baits, the worm baits and stuff like that. My next go-to one is going to be the flipping hook. So the flipping hook, you can see here, it's got a nice little bait keeper up here and back here on the back side. And then you can see it's a straight shank hook. Now, the reason I like using those and where I want to use those is if I'm pitching into vegetation or over a bunch of cover and stuff like that, then I'm having, like you would typically, if you're throwing, the EWG hook or the worm hook and you're getting hung up a lot or whatever, that's when I'm going to go to this bait and this hook. And the reason being is, watch, when I hook this in there, come down just like I would just the other hooks. I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to pull it up right to those bait keepers there, just right there. And the reason that is like that is I'm going to take this hook and scrunch up just a little bit, and I'm going to put it right in there. I'm not pulling that through. That is not through that bait. These hooks are very, very well made. They're stout hooks. When you go to set a hook, trust me, that bait or that hook comes right through that bait like it's nothing. So it will save you from getting hung up a ton. Like I said, do not worry about it not coming through the bait. I know there's a lot of guys out there that are a little skeptical of that, but I'm telling you, I have fished it a ton, and I've never had an issue with it not coming through that bait. So, and I know in a couple previous videos I was talking about the Biospawn Vial Crawl and how much I love that bait, but the plastic's a lot tougher on it. Even with that, trust me, there's no problem with that bait, with that hook coming through there. So, and just to show you a little bit of size comparison here, this is a 3/0 flipping hook, and this is a 5/0 flipping hook. So, most of the time, I didn't have a 4 with me handy here, but 4/0 is usually my go-to size for those. Works very good for probably 80% of your beaver style baits, your crawl baits, stuff like that. So, works very well. All right, so on to the next one. This one, we're going to go into swim baits a little bit. And when I say swim baits, I mean like your hollow body swim baits or your Rage swimmers, your Kitech, stuff like that. My little bit bigger ones are going to go on something like this right here. Now, this is a pretty big hook. Yes, I know. This is actually a 7/0 hook. This is something I use for like maybe my big Shadowlicious or something like that, or the trash fish, something like that. It does have a screw lock bait keeper up here, which I really like. It seems to, I think your baits last a lot longer doing that. You don't get as nearly as much as them pulled off the back, but this is for a weedless setup. I didn't bring a swim bait in with me, but like I said, you're gonna stick the nose of swim bait up here, screw it on there, and then you're gonna pinch it back just like we did on that other one, and then pull it back down through here, and this is gonna lay right on the back of that. And when I do that, and I'll tell a lot of guys this, you know, if you're new into fishing and stuff like that, this is a pretty important deal here. So when you've got your bait on there and you can see your hook sitting there, take your plastic, whatever you got, pinch it up a little bit, pull it back, and let it go over the top of that hook like that. Now the reason being is it's going to keep it weedless. Now that is not enough skin over there. That's what they call skin hooking. There's not enough there to hold that and keep you from getting a hook set. So don't worry about it. Just pull a little bit of plastic over it. It'll keep you from getting hung up and stuff like that. When you have a good fish on and you go to set that hook, don't worry. It's coming right through there like it's nothing. So, okay, on to the next one. Like I said, that was the weedless version there. Now, if I'm around some deep drop-offs, gravel banks, stuff like that, and I want to throw my swim baits, that's when I'm going to go to my weighted jig head, which is an open hook. So you just slide your bait on here. It's going to set down on here like this, and this is all exposed up here. So I'm not going to throw this around grass. I'm not going to throw it around timber or any kind of cover like that. It's going to be mainly like gravel, open water, deeper water, stuff like that. If I'm wanting to throw out and I'm seeing schools, you know, it's 25 foot of water, but I'm seeing schools suspended at about 12 foot, I can throw this out there and count down to where I really want to pull it through there, and I'll go right to the middle of that school, and your hookup ratio improves a ton having that open hook on top there. The weedless version does work great, but this hookup ratio is twice as good as that. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. All right, on to my next. These are my last two hooks here. We'll go over these a little bit. So one is the Shaky head hook. This is I think a 1/4 ounce Shaky head. A little heavy for when you're wanting to use Shaky heads, but the reason I have these is actually for the 5-inch Cinco baits. I really like the Cinco baits on these. They pair up really well. They got a pretty good hookup ratio. You know, and guys that are beginners, if you guys got any questions, please let me know down below in the comments, and I'll answer any of those I can. So on these, what you want to do is just take your whatever worm you're fishing with or whatever creature bait you want to fish with, and just stick it on those little knobs down there. It kind of sticks to it. And then the same thing with this. Pinch it through there, and don't come all the way through that bait. Leave it like that. When they pick that up, you pull that through there, trust me, they're getting hooked. I mean, it's every time. It's not a problem at all. So don't be scared to skin hook anything or put a hook in the middle of a bait. It will come through. So as far as Shaky heads, there are all kinds of Shaky head companies out there producing Shaky heads. I see probably 3 or 4 every week, just a new company coming out with their own style of Shaky heads and this and that. You can see this one here has actually got just a flat bottom. I've had pretty good luck with these if I'm around, let's just say docks or something like that, and I'm more of a vertical fish, doing it vertically right up next to the boat. I have no problems with these. But what I will say is I've had better luck with some of the other ones that have been more of a mushroom head out to the sides, more of like a football head jig or something. Those actually tend to, I think, in my opinion, stand up a little bit better, especially on gravel, pea gravel and stuff like that. I've had a lot better luck with those. So if you go buy any, just kind of keep that in mind. And last but not least, the wacky rig hook. This is a 1/4 ounce here. Just got the bigger one just to show you guys so it's easier to see. You can see it's got a little weed guard over it right here. It's not much of one, but it does work pretty well. This is really good for fishing your small worms, the wacky style worms. Now, if you guys are new enough that you don't know what wacky style is, that's pretty much just taking a worm and hooking this right through the center of it and letting each side dangle on each side of it there. So you're just hooking it right in the middle, and what you're doing is that worms, both sides are just going like this. It's a very, very good technique to start off with. It gets a ton of bites. It will build your confidence up in fishing in no time. You can fish these in ponds, lakes, creeks, whatever any little small river, something like that. This setup just gets bit nonstop. I mean, there's nothing bad about it really. It doesn't get hung up a whole heck of a lot, except for like if you're fishing big chunk rock or something like that. Definitely that weight's going to go down there and get stuck. But that's pretty much anything you're going to fish with a weight. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. Talked a little bit last night. We did a little bit of a live stream, just kind of testing it out. Just to let you guys know, we are going to start doing a live stream on Monday evenings starting at 7 o'clock. And we're going to try to do that just every week, see how it works out. If you guys got questions, you can jump on there and ask them. I'll get to them as quick as I can. I will try to read every single comment on there and go along with you guys and help out anybody I possibly can on there. So you guys have a good night, and I will see you next time.